consoling to you, because if you are living life, you will be sad at certain points, because sad things happen, and they happen to all of us. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and about grieving, and about gothic sentiment. I have some dried roses here. They are dead, but they are still beautiful. And I've got them here to kind of help us today. One of the things that, I guess, the thing that made me want to make this video was the election, which happened right during the time that The Cure released a new album. And I don't want to be cheap, and I don't want to mention things in a cheap way. I bring up these two moments because they stood in stark contrast to each other for me. When The Cure released this album, and I listened to it, I was struck with how sad it is. It is so sad. Some of the darkest themes I've ever heard them sing on. And they released a statement that said if they were going to make new music, that they'd better have something to say. Like, really have something to say. Which is so different in a world where a lot of people have nothing to say, and still say it anyway. I thought it was interesting that what they had to say was just a cry out about sorrow. The whole album is about loss. The loss of our planet, and love, and his brother, and his own body, and eventually his own life. This is a band that has been around through the 80s, and this album feels like it was meant for today. He's lived his life, and he's singing from a very different perspective than he used to, which makes complete sense, because he's singing and making work as he is living. The Cure is, of course, truly gothic. They are a goth band. I could not help but contrast this to Elon Musk, saying that I think he said he's MAGA. Again, I feel like even saying that cheapens the video, but I have to mention it because if anything is the opposite of gothic, it is MAGA, and it is him. And that is not goth. That is nihilism. That is the strangest mix, I think, of techno optimism and complete nihilism. Complete bankruptcy of morality. Real gothicness is not interested in making anything great again. It is not interested in clinging on to a bastardized life. It simply grieves loss, and it encounters mystery and living in complexity, and it processes sometimes the horror of being alive and the horror of being sick and aging and the sorrow and the pain that can come from these things. Sadness is a vital step in our processing of emotions. Sadness is important. When something happens, we're meant to grieve it. We're meant to grieve it. I can't help but think of over 1 million people who passed away during COVID in the United States alone. And when something like that happens in the world, we are supposed to collectively grieve. And typically we do. We put up memorials and we host services, but it seems like in these cases we don't publicly grieve. We just save devastation for our individual private lives, and as a society toss these things in the bin and move on. And we just move on. And I think when you lack grief and sadness, you are left with nihilism, ironic detachment, just ironic detachment from everything. And you can develop a bit of an overconfidence, maybe getting too comfortable, and also a fundamental lack of curiosity, about the other person you are encountering, and the new. And there's a clinging to these kind of very old regimens. And I think in this circus of rhetoric, kind of political dialogue, I feel the lack of sadness. And when I heard the Cure album, it unlocked a lot of that for me, and it allowed me to be sad for a lot of things that made it easier to process, perhaps. And I think that's very gothic, and that's really the that's really the spirit of grief. I think to kind of classic or gothic, there is an emphasis on encounter with spirits and ghosts and ruins and darkness, and in a contemporary sense, we are surrounded by those same things, but in a different package. All kinds of new ghosts and new types of existential darkness and this and that. And I think goth as an outlook can help people encounter it and not lose sight of humanity. I have a theory about dark academia. I think it's a sentiment, an aesthetic sentiment, that has been around for a long time. But I think its popular cultural iteration takes some of the aesthetic of goth art and interests and paints a bit of an academic detachment. I think through making it about intellectual encounter and study, it takes a step away from the emotional. And goth and dark academia are related, I think, in interest, but very separate in approach. I think the gothic approach is quite emotional and emphasizes greater, the sublime, the sense of awe at the darkness of the world and the shadows of ruins and this and that, big ships and nature, storms. Dark academia, on the other hand, seems to be more of a project of encountering with the intellect. And I think that's quite interesting, considering trends in how we encounter information on the internet, where detachment is a bit of a given, a standard that we approach serious topics with. And I wonder about that connection between detachment and academia as an aesthetic genre. I think as well, because goth is emotional, it has been allowed to be a subculture proper, in that it has music, in that it has people who gather around events and share in this like love and share their objects and their writing and kind of share in these things. And academia, dark academia, remains, at least as of 2024, remains an aesthetic, and so is encountered and embodied alone. The media that it shares seems to be digital, pictures and the like, and the music that it has seems to be either recontextualizing older music or confined to the realm of dark academia playlists that have typically AI generated pictures or a picture of an old painting. And it's this kind of like making something new from these artifacts of the past. source of that river, which people can now do what they will with and make new things from. I think in part, this being a statement about politics and revealing a bit about where I stand on things, there's also a personal element to be had in which it's important as an individual to have sadness or feel your sadness, because sadness is not really something you can grab off a shelf. It tends to just be in your life and be around, and it's okay to feel those things. It really is, and it's so important to grieve where it can become frustrated, I think. And I'm no expert in this. This is just my opinion. Sadness needs ritual. Sadness needs some type of language to transform and then be released. We do this all the time. This is the public memorials and gatherings I was talking about. This is when people get candles and they walk together in the night. And so if you find yourself sad and you have a hard time moving through the sadness, it can be helpful to make a ritual. And you can do this with another person. And you can find a way to release it and let it go. This could be lighting a candle, saying a prayer, or writing down your thoughts and then sealing them away. You could make your own little memorial for sadness at a tree or in your home. And you can talk to a friend, write things down and then burn it away. You can dance. But ritual, the acknowledgement of sadness, is quite important. And transforming it into imagery that you can then put somewhere, and leave somewhere, and move on with life. Doing this, you transform sad feelings into peace. You transform them into fortitude and strength and meaning. You can transform sadness into a relationship to nature or the world or the divine. And you can get to know yourself better and your emotions. These are constructive things, making things, new things, positive things. It's not a deconstruction. Moving through sadness together is a construction of peace and good feeling and harmony. the same reasons. So it's okay. It's okay. I hope this message is not too sad in itself. And I hope that no matter where you are or what you're doing, whether it's day or night, that you are able to have some peace and you are able to construct good things for yourself, even out of pain. I also hope that you are able to encounter the sublime and some gothic beauty, whether through cinema or music or seeing some nature. I will say again that one of the most powerful antidotes to darkness and nihilism and hopelessness is curiosity. Curiosity. I think curiosity is like shining a flashlight through that kind of darkness. It allows you to find all kinds of things and all kinds of meaning that are there, even in our darkest moments when it feels like there isn't any meaning there. Curiosity is a fundamental positive force in the world, and we all have it. Curiosity and openness and play, for sure. It's okay to even be curious when you're sad. That is my thoughts on sadness. Kind of all sparked at the beginning of this month, November 2024, for the reasons I've already said. And I think just that album in general has been that catalyst for a lot of my emotional processing as of late, and I think my ability to just move forward in the world. It truly is a sad, sad album. Some of the songs even sound like they're crying. I don't know how to explain that, but something about the guitar. Some songs just sound like they're crying, and it made me cry. I cried. And sometimes you ain't gonna cry. You just need it. So I needed it, and it helped. Anyway, I hope that you are doing okay, and that you're all right, and that you have some peace in your life, and that you have some beauty in your life, and some curiosity in your life, and if you have some sadness, that's okay. That's alright. I hope that you are able to have somebody there, able to kind of hold your sadness and process it and allow yourself to feel your feelings. about some real things, some real things. Because that's just the gothic thing to do, is to talk about those real things. So, I thought it deserved it. Okay. Thank you so much again. And I will see you in the next video, which will be much more positive.